Peace be with you. Friends, the readings for today are really magnificent, and they are all about something central to the spiritual life, namely fear. Now, what do I mean? Well, years ago, I was on a retreat, and the retreat director said there are two basic questions always to ask. First, what do you want? Deep down, what do you want? Secondly, what are you afraid of? Deep down. So we want all kinds of things, but what is it that finally and ultimately you want? That's a really clarifying question. Can I propose it now to everyone listening? What are you looking for? You know, when a young kid would come to a Benedictine monastery, still true to this day in a more formal way, but they'd be asked, what do you seek? What do you want here? But the second great clarifying question is, what are you afraid of? So again, we're afraid of all sorts of things. But deep down, ultimately, what are you afraid of? In a way, answering those two questions will tell you everything you need to know about yourself, spiritually speaking. So with that in mind, let's look at reading number 1, which is from the great prophet Jeremiah. Is there anybody in the Old Testament more fascinating than Jeremiah, who was given this kind of awful assignment? He's called to be a prophet, and the message he has for Israel is this terrible message. And the Lord tells him, and it turns out to be true, no one's going to listen to you, and they're all going to end up hating you. Well, that's exactly what happened with Jeremiah. So listen to him now. We hear him speaking. I hear the whisperings of many. Terror on every side. Denounce. Let us denounce him. All those who are my friends are on the watch for any misstep of mine. Well, here's the prophet in the midst of his fear and despair. I was called to deliver this message. I've done so. And what's the result? Everybody hates me. Terror on every side. Everybody's denouncing me. Well, a lot of us experience life this way, don't we? There are times when it feels like everything's going wrong. All of our fears are being realized. All of our best efforts have met with failure. But now listen to him as he continues. But the Lord is with me like a mighty champion. My persecutors will stumble. They will not triumph. In the midst of his fears, and they are profound, he experiences a deeper peace. Yes, terror on every side. Every human being is against me. But in the midst of it, I experience this great peace because God is my champion. Notice, please, God being his champion does not mean that the fears go away. Oh, because since God's on my side, I won't have any fear. No one's going to denounce me. I'm going to be a total worldly success. No. Jeremiah was a failure his whole life long, and he died a failure. He died with people denouncing him on every side. Yet in the midst of it, despite all that, he felt the peace that comes from knowing that God is his champion. Think of Teresa of Avila's famous image of the interior castle. Well, the very existence of a castle presupposes trouble. You wouldn't build a fortified castle unless there were enemies out to get you, unless you were surrounded on every side by danger. But despite the dangers, in the midst of the dangers, there's this castle, this place of safety and peace. That's the place, everybody, that the saints find. Now, with that in mind, let's turn to the gospel, which is giving us a similar dynamic. Jesus said to the 12, fear no one. Extraordinary, huh? The Lord said, fear no one. Then he amplifies. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Now we see, if you want to put it this way, the metaphysical ground of this dynamic I've been talking about. Don't fear those paper tigers who can only harm the body, but cannot touch the soul. What's the soul? Call it that deepest, central part of us through which we have contact with God. So yeah, I'm surrounded by terrors on every side. I've got enemies all around me. I've got failures and fears and anxieties all around me. But at the level of my soul, I am connected to that power which is here and now creating the universe. In my soul, the depth of who I am, I'm in touch with that which transcends space and time, that which lies beyond the vagaries of this world, that which mocks all those fears that surround me. Don't be afraid of those that can only harm the body, but can't touch this deepest place in me.